any questions, please drop them into the Q&A. We'll have time at the end to go over questions, and we'll try and answer any that are within like the slides as we go along. As always, we are recording these too, so we will send you guys the recording afterwards. And I'm going to drop the slides for today into the chat so that you guys have them there. So let's do this. Okay, attendee chat. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to drop the slides into the chat here so everyone can follow along. Very cool, very cool. We are live streaming as well. Cool, we've got a full deck to go through, so we're going to go ahead and get it started. Let me share my screen here. Cool, awesome. If I can find my Zoom screen, here it is. Okay. I just dropped this into the chat. I will hopefully you guys have the link there. I'm going to go ahead and go full screen here and get started. So I know we've been going through like event overviews for the last few weeks. So wanted to do something a little bit different since it is, fun fact, the first official day of load-in today for SaaStr Annual. So very exciting. I'm actually reporting live. You can't tell my background, but reporting live from San Mateo County Event Center. Load-in has begun. And so I thought it'd be fun just to do some of our best tips and tricks for SaaStr Annual, since it is in a couple weeks for you guys. Yeah, we want to just run through kind of our best tips and tricks. I feel like, we can also answer any logistical questions you might have. But I know a lot of things, we're already due. You guys are just kind of prepping now to come on site. And so we thought we would do some of our best tips and tricks for annual to help you guys make the most of it there. So without further ado, here are some of our best tips and tricks. I'm going to make Kevin a co-host here so he can show his face.
I love this topic. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Chime in with any that you've got too from throughout the years. I just put together kind of like a rough and tough tips and tricks. And if you guys have any you want to see specifically, again, just drop it into the Q&A as we go. Okay, cool. Coming to our first tips and tricks for some pre-arrival tips. I think you all know by now, the event officially is 3 days, September 6th, 7th, 8th. It's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It is here at the San Mateo County Event Center where I'm live right now. It is in San Mateo. You really can't miss it. There are a lot of signs. I was just noticing this morning of like directionals of how to get to the fair. If you see signs for the fairgrounds, that is the same thing. It is also affectionately called the fairgrounds because they do host the San Mateo County Fair here that serves all of the Bay Area. So it's a huge location kind of once you get close to it. And again, there's kind of more signs and you really can't miss it. Plus you will see all the tents and SaaStr signs. So you will know you are in the right place. A quick note, if you've not been to SaaStr Annual before, or if you've got newer team members, a reminder that this is an indoor-outdoor event. A lot of your guys' booths will be inside, but if you do anything else, like go to any other sessions, big party, etc., you are, expected to be both outside and inside, kind of throughout the course of the day. Dress and pack appropriately as you're starting to think about, your packing game of what you're going to bring with you. It can get warmer in the afternoons. Like case in point, yesterday it was like really warm in the Bay Area in the afternoon, but like it's kind of dewy and chilly in the morning just because of the nature of like the fog and like the dew in the Bay Area. So like even this morning it was a little chilly and now it's like nice. So yeah, bringing layers is great. Definitely recommend wearing sensible shoes, right? You're going to be doing a lot of walking. And something we get asked a lot is like, what is the dress code for SaaStr Annual? It is in fact business casual, right? So obviously you can come as fully business as you want, but we do recommend, sensible shoes because it is a lot of walking. It is indoor, outdoor. Definitely recommend layers, definitely recommend hats, sunglasses, sunscreen, you'd be surprised. We'll have water bottle stations throughout the campus. I know a lot of you like to bring your, big Stanley water bottles with you. We'll have water bottles in the swag store. I know a lot of you are also giving away water bottles. So yeah, there'll be kind of plenty of stuff like that, but just a note to pack layers. It's definitely helpful. One thing I've noticed too, just from, not that I have to do booth duty, but I do walk around the campus quite a bit. Sometimes it helps to have kind of like different shoes per day so that your feet don't get used to like the same shoe. I know that sounds weird, but maybe a pro tip there.
That's definitely a pro tip.
Definitely a pro tip. I would say too, like people do actually have danced the last 2 years at the big party, like jumping up and down, definitely like a concert or a rave, as some people called it. So yeah, definitely if you're like wearing like, all your business casual stuff during the day on Thursday and you want to change for the big party on site and like have sensible shoes or go back to your hotel and change, that's kind of a tip for the party there. Someone just asked a qualifying question here. Will you have water bubblers throughout the event for us to fill up our own water bottles? Yes, we will. There's a mix. So actually this year, something new we're doing is there's a mix of like still water, and then there's actually we got hooked up with a cool vendor called Bevy. They're going to do sparkling water stations. So you'll see a few of those throughout the campus as well. So there'll be like still water, sparkling water. And then during like lunches and stuff, there's like, sodas, and there's a bunch of drinks everywhere. But yeah, for water specifically, there are stations, which is why that is a good tip as well, to bring your own bottle. I think a lot of you have like your own stickers on it as well. Just keep in mind, if you do grab a SaaStr water bottle, like every attendee is grabbing a SaaStr water bottle. So like throw some stickers on it or something to make it more yours so that it's your bottle if you lose it. That's kind of a pro tip on packing and stuff like that, like handy things to bring. I know some people have brought those like Uniqlo bags or like Lululemon bags that you just kind of like strap onto yourselves that are like really popular right now. Those are actually handy during event days. You can put pens in it, your business cards, chapstick, a little sunscreen, like sunglasses. I've seen a lot of those actually just during load-in, like almost everyone on production had one, which is a little funny. But yeah, very handy for sponsors as well as you're kind of like running around and as you meet people, right? So that you have like a kind of grab and go bag. Last kind of pre-arrival tip is, as a reminder, this year's health and safety policy is different than the prior 2 years. So we just wanted to call it out. I know we chatted about it a lot, but our health and safety policy for this year is please don't come sick. Everyone entering SaaStr Annual each day, which we'll chat about later, will be required to undergo a temperature check each day of Annual prior to entry. As I might have mentioned before, this is not us who do it. We have a really great partner in Lookout Health who does this for us. They're all registered EMTs and nurses who do this. So they are professionals. They will, monitor and gauge everyone's temperature as you walk in. And also if you have any visible symptoms, they're going to have a chat with you. So anyone with a temperature, not feeling well will not be permitted to enter. So just a reminder there, and it is daily. So that's kind of the tip there, is like, it is every day. So just be prepared for that each day. Okay, we kind of talked about where we are. So a few things I just wanted to do as like a pro tip for registration. And some people are asking about storage, which is later in this deck, so I'm going to keep going. A few tips on registration. So there's kind of two registrations near to one another that are nearer to the sponsor hall. So that's that top circle up here. It's what we call the West Lot, which is Delaware Reg. That's literally the street it's on. So we kind of call it Delaware Reg because it's on Delaware Street. And then there's a larger registration here in the East Lot. This is this number 1 circle. That is the Saratoga registration. That's on Saratoga Drive. So that's why we kind of named them by the street. So it's super directional as you're coming in. Pro tip for sponsors, you're gonna want to come in through Delaware and Gate 1. That is the closest to both of the hangars where the sponsor halls are. So that is the best place to go. Again, we said it before, but just worth mentioning, like if you're getting in an Uber, be sure to put in the specific address for Delaware Reg and the West Lot or Gate 1. So really Delaware Reg is your best place if you're Ubering, because that's the only place where Ubers can drop off. So that is 2650 South Delaware Street. If you put that into your Uber specifically, make sure they take you there. So that you are dropped off closer to where your booth is. If you don't, it's, again, we've said it's kind of like a roll of the dice of like, some people will drop you there, some people will drop you down here. Really just depends on your rideshare driver. So if you do put in the address, just specifically ask them to please take you to either, if you're trying to get to Delaware Street, ask them to drop you on Delaware. Make sure they don't drop you on Saratoga, like if you notice you're on Saratoga. Or if you're trying to get to Saratoga because you're trying to go that way, then yeah, ask them for Saratoga. The nuance here between Gate 1 and Delaware of like why there's 2 in one specific place. Gate 1 is really just for like attendee drop off. Sometimes the Ubers drop off there by default. It's not a really big gate, so Delaware is preferred. And if you're parking at all, it's gonna be the sponsor parking is at Delaware. And then there's a few questions of where the shuttle is. So the shuttle service is at Saratoga, and that is absolutely where it has to drop off. I know you all wish you could drop off at Delaware, but the shuttle is so big, it doesn't fit in the gate at Delaware. So if you're taking the SaaStr shuttle, which we'll share the times on the next slide, it does drop you off at the East Lot Saratoga registration. It just means it's a little bit of a further walk. It's still fairly easy to get to the sponsor hall. It's just slightly further. It's like one more minute than it would be at Delaware. So it's not crazy far. It just means you're going to have to enter reg through this way. There's a full registration there, so it's not that you have to walk all the way around. You will be able to get dropped off there on the shuttle and walk in through there. There's another question here. How will we know if we're approved for parking passes? So yeah, this week we're going to start distributing those. They're in the order in which people requested them. So depending on how early you might have registered, you'll probably get that this week. Our goal is to get all the approved ones out by the end of this week there. So pro tips on registration there. Last pro tip I'll say on the East Lot, that is where Ubers pick up generally. So if you enter through Delaware, you're going to have to exit through Saratoga just because that's where the Ubers can pick up on campus. Again, that kind of number one circle is the biggest lot. That's why all the shuttles go there. It's got all the space for that kind of thing. And I think I've mentioned this previously before, but kind of like the ride shares do like a festival style kind of pickup where like, you know, you put in your number once you get to the lot and then they come to your number and come get you. So just a few pro tips there. Okay, a few other tips and tricks on registration, just so that you guys know what to bring and what you're prepared for reg. So things that you need to bring with you to registration. You absolutely need to bring a valid photo ID. This can either be, you know, most common is a driver's license. I know some folks are international or have international team members. You can definitely bring a passport either. Either or works, but we do need to see a physical photo ID, making sure that you are you. Also good idea to have a picture of it. So if for some reason you lose your ID here at SaaStr, we can help, you know, get you back in and get you to lost and found to try and find your item. But yeah, again, good. Hopefully you always have a photo of your ID on your phone, but take a picture of one now if you don't already. Good idea to have your ticket confirmation code. So you can either get this in the email of when you registered or maybe a team member registered you, or it's also available in the app, which we'll chat about next. As I said, do be prepared for those daily temperature checks. They are every day. So even when you re-enter, they're still going to check your temperature once again. Super important one and a little bit nuanced. Your badges must be worn at all times every day. So not just like the first time you enter and then like, oh, I'm going to go to my booth and take my badge off. You do have to keep it on at all times. It is a security precaution. We do have, you know, 12,000 people running around the event. And for everyone's safety, we want to make sure that, you know, you've got your badge on and that you are supposed to be here if you are supposed to be here. So just keep that in mind. You are going to be, you know, needing to wear them at all times. If for some reason you take it off, there's probably going to be a staff member kind of flagging you to put it back on so that we know that you are you. Please, again, keep that on at all times just so that we know that you are badged and ticketed and that we don't have to keep flagging for security. Don't lose your badge or like leave it at the hotel and be like, oh, can I just get a new badge? I left mine at the hotel. Keep it with you at all times, like sleep with it on. Just kidding. But please keep your badges on you. You do have to wear them every day. And if you lose your badge, there is a reprint fee, only because our system, like we have to go and like do the special thing to do a reprint. And so we'll do it. But again, you know, there's kind of a nominal fee for it to encourage you not to lose your badge. So please don't lose it. We know it happens though, if it happens, but please try not to. Badge swapping, this is an important one, especially for sponsors. Badge swapping and transferring after checking in is strictly prohibited. So just a pro tip on this one, right? Like if for some reason Amelia gets sick and she can't come to annual and Kevin needs to come and you guys reach out to the either registration inbox, like, you know, send an email as you know that, oh, Amelia can't come anymore and Kevin's going to come in her place. Or you can show up on site and say, hey, Amelia can't come anymore. Here's an email from Amelia saying, please transfer my ticket to Kevin. Show it to us. We'll transfer, you know, Amelia's ticket to Kevin before checking in. Once Kevin checks in, that ticket is now his. So like Amelia can't come day 2 and say, hey, I was the original ticket holder. I'm here now. Like, can I still get my badge? Like, no, now Kevin is the ticket holder for all the days of the annual. So badge swapping and transferring is strictly not like allowed after you've checked in. You could do it before if you need to swap somebody out. They can help you at the help desk. usually if it's, during the show, that's the best way to have somebody help you is at the help desk. But after you check in, it is strictly not allowed. So just a quick reminder there that everyone on your team does need to have their own badge. And then to my next point, everyone must pick up their own badge. So even if, Amelia and Kevin are on the same SaaStr team, Kevin still has to come get his own badge, do his own ID check, and do his own temperature scan, all that stuff. So just a reminder there. To make it easy when you come back to SaaStr, I know a lot of our sponsors do come early in the morning, so there's less of a line, but if you have people who are shifting or coming later in the day, there might be more people entering the annual all at once. There is an express lane at each registration. So no matter what entry you come in, no matter where your Uber or rideshare drops off, there is an express lane to look out for. At each registration that you can go through. Do utilize that. They're just going to look for your badge to make sure you already have your badge. They'll do a quick temperature and ID check, and then they'll let you in. So that's how re-entry works. It's SaaStr annual. Again, that's why you need to have your ID kind of all days, and that you need to have your badge all days. That's how you get in through Express. If for some reason you lose it, you'll have to go back through the main line. It's just some other kind of reminders. Hopefully you all know this by now from doing a lot of events. Obviously, weapons and prohibited items of any kind are not allowed at SaaStr and at any event, and probably not on the airplane that you're using to get here. But kind of certain other things we wanted to call out, which maybe are allowed on planes but not allowed at SaaStr. Don't bring any outside alcohol. There is alcohol at SaaStr. There's plenty of it. You don't need to bring any outside alcohol. There's happy hours, there's parties, there's a beer garden. There's a bunch here. It's all through the county and their license. So don't bring any outside alcohol, not even the little airplane bottles. Those are not allowed. Things like, I know sometimes people like to bring pocket knives if they're a sponsor because you like to open box, or box cutters. Don't bring those. Just bring a pair of scissors to open your boxes. Don't bring any pocket knives or box cutters. Those are not allowed. They won't be allowed in. They'll get confiscated. If you have a lot of boxes, also Freeman can help you open them. They've got, these kinds of things to help you open your boxes. Glassware is not prohibited, or sorry, not allowed. It's prohibited. So just one thing there, if you have glass water bottles, maybe leave that one at home and bring a water bottle that is more either stainless steel or plastic or whatever. Just because, again, we want to limit any glassware breaking on site. And also it's kind of a bad giveaway item if you're thinking of doing something like mugs or something, because then the attendee has to take it and then they might break it. So no glassware. It's just easier if there's no broken glass a bunch of places. And then there's a few venue restrictions. So there's no drones allowed, things like balloons, confetti, open flame items, unapproved costumes. Those are not allowed either. So yeah, just don't pack those, please, in your things, and don't acquire them once you get here. And again, this is a huge event for everyone's safety, for all of our sponsors, attendees, speakers, everything. All items that you do bring in will be subject to a search. This is, rarely happen, but it does happen sometimes from time to time. If people have a lot of stuff, then we usually investigate. We have a lot of security team members on this. There's, anywhere of 30 to 50 guards all at one time throughout the campus. So again, just for everyone's safety, we ask you not to bring any limited or restriction items, etc. This does include any rogue signage. So what I mean by that is I've seen sometimes folks try and bring I just saw this the other day on a website too. They're backpack signs of a backpack that comes with a flag thing. We don't allow those. It's just, it's just weird. We're respectful to all of our sponsors, right? You guys are paying a lot of hard-earned money to be here at SaaStr and exhibit. Use your booth. That's what it's for. Rogue signs, we try and confiscate them as much as possible. If you see one and you're why is this person getting away with it? You probably just have a team member going to try and triage that to get them, to confiscate their rogue signs, etc. So yeah, if you see one, you can also tell us so that we can, if we haven't seen it yet or flagged it, we can action that. We do have a lot of team members, but it is a big property. So yeah, if you see one, it's not that they're getting away with it. It's if we haven't seen it yet, we will see it and take appropriate action. A quick note here on outside food and beverage. So if you're bringing it for yourself, like today, I don't know, I brought a Starbucks because it's the first day of pumpkin spice. So hashtag spooky season, y'all. If you're bringing like a Starbucks or lunch from offsite, which we'll chat about in a little bit, it can only be for yourself, right? So I can bring coffee for me. I could bring like, my own kind of snacks and stuff from Starbucks. That is okay. But please don't bring catering for like your entire team. Like the venue is going to flag it. It's just going to cause issues. Like don't try and bring a bunch of catering or activations that aren't approved. It becomes a county liability thing just because we are on county and city property, where like you have to have permits for everything if it's not just for, personal consumption. So that's why. But again, there is a Starbucks close by. I literally have it on the next slide of how to get there. It does get busy. So you may want a mobile order. Like this morning, it was already busy. So you may want a mobile order and then wait and walk over. But yeah, anyways, don't bring catering for your whole team, por favor. Okay. Personal vehicles such as scooters, bikes are not allowed on campus. I am so sorry. I know sometimes you guys see some of our team on these, or you see some of the production team or security around. That is because, we've got to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible, right? Like if there is a situation we need to go and deal with for the safety of all of our attendees, we need to be able to do that. So for everyone's safety, it's not allowed for any sponsors, attendees, speakers, etc. Again, it's not that you won't see them, but they're not allowed from a, personal vehicle perspective for those attending. So sorry, but yeah. How you will get around though, one, walking. So be prepared to, do a lot of steps, wear your Apple Watch, Garmin watch, whatever. There's also on-site parking, which I know we've answered, but I did drop the link to the slides here in the into the chat. So you guys can click it if you still need to request parking. You can still request parking. I was just looking at it today. I don't think there's a volume in which we will sell out in the next few days. So please do request parking and do note on there that you are a sponsor so that we can get you in that lot as close as possible. There is a possibility, even as a sponsor, you'd be in the other lot if that one gets full, but you'll still have on-site parking. So be sure you do that. Otherwise, I know there was a question here, like, what do we do if those lots get full or we forget to request a parking pass and we kind of show up last minute? You can overflow park at the Crown Plaza. It is free. There's parking there. We haven't had an issue for the last 2 years with that filling up as well. You can park at Crown Plaza or at Town Place, which is like next door, and then grab the shuttle from there. So that's your best bet if for some reason you kind of forget about the parking, or maybe you don't want to park on site because you want to take the shuttle, you can park there as well. Ride share and drop off we've chatted about. So then the other thing I'll notice is note is on campus we do have these things called pedicabs, which is this photo here. Those are the guys on the bikes that you sometimes see at like Coachella or Outside Lands. And they will be looping the campus to kind of help you get from point A to point B. They basically do a loop, as do our trams. So we do have some passenger trams on site that will help you get around on property. They will not take you off property, so you can't be like, hey, can you take me to Starbucks? Like, you have to walk to Starbucks. They're only going to loop on the actual campus. Shuttle service, which we've mentioned a lot. This does run from the Crown Plaza to the East Lot, which is Saratoga Drive. Each day it does start fairly early. Obviously, there's production people who get on the shuttle from our teams. There's sponsors, right? So the sponsor hall opens earlier than the rest of SaaStr Annual usually. So it runs really early, and then it does close late. So this is like an hour after any, close time for actual SaaStr Annual. So you've got plenty of time to get on the shuttle. And the shuttles are the big, like, again, not to make too many Coachella references, but they're like the big festival shuttles, like big passenger vans, basically this one here. And they do about a 15-minute loop. So the, Crown Plaza is not far. So about every 15 minutes, there's either one or two shuttles that will come pick up or drop off from either location. So once you get to Crown Plaza, you'll see the signage for the shuttle pickup. It's like right outside is where they kind of pick up. So just follow the signage if you are there. Obviously, once you find it the first day, they don't move per day. So as long as you find it one day, that will be the same spot each day. And then the tram kind of does a full loop. So if you keep an eye out for it, you'll just see it looping around, and you can pick it up honestly wherever to get on the shuttle, and it'll just keep looping around. It takes, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 minutes to do a full loop, and there's two of them. So that one's pretty fast if you get on the interior tram. And then these pedicabs will kind of take you anywhere from, if you want to go from stage A to the sponsor hall or stage A to the plaza stage, they'll get you where you need to go in the pedicabs. Okay, around San Mateo. So if you're new, or maybe you're not sure of the area, or have got new folks on the team, And people are asking for the slide deck. It is in the chat, so hopefully you guys can see that. Okay, around San Mateo, it is a busy time of year in San Mateo, so just keep that in mind. If you do have customer meetings or a larger team, if you've got customer meetings that are in the city, or maybe you've got some in Palo Alto, we do recommend getting a rental car, or even if you just have a lot of team members, like you've got 4 people coming for your booth, honestly, probably cheaper and more cost effective to get a rental car than to keep getting Ubers. I will say once you do have that parking pass, you can have in-out privileges. So like if you're coming in the morning and then you're like, one of us might have missed lunch, or we want to get a coffee run, that's not there's plenty of coffee on site, but if you want a pumpkin spice latte and you want to go to Starbucks or you want to go to the Whole Foods that's nearby, it's kind of handy to have a car so you can go do that. It's like literally a 2-minute drive versus like a 15-minute walk. So again, I know we recommend that a lot. I just, to say that those Ubers do rack up, especially if you're just going from point A to point B, it can still rack up quite a bit. So it's kind of handy to have a rental, or if you're local, just bring your car and park. So some handy things in the area. If you're like, I want to grab a few things for my booth, like pens or paper or whatever. I forgot scissors, to open my packages, whatever it might be. So there's kind of some handy areas around. So the first bubble, I kind of bubbled here, if I can move my mouse on Zoom. This bubble here is where the Starbucks is. It's also where the Whole Foods is. So it's kind of a nice plaza. It's got a Starbucks, a Whole Foods. I think there's a Mendocino Farms there now. There's like a Habit Burger. There's a sushi spot that's pretty good. Like there's a few good places there. If like, again, you want to eat something that's not on campus, there's a lot of food and coffee on campus. But if you're hankering for something in particular, or after like, you kind of partied at the big party, and then you're like, oh, I'm a little hungry again, those are great places to go. You can technically walk to Starbucks. I did this in Google Maps yesterday. It's about a 15-minute walk each way. If you walk faster, it's about, 12 minutes. So it's not a bad walk. You can literally mobile order, walk there, get your drink, walk back, make it back in half an hour. It's really not that bad. Do recommend mobile ordering though. It does get really, really busy there. Sometimes though, it gets so busy, they will not let you mobile order. So that's a pro tip. And there is also this other circle. It's the Hillsdale Mall. So like basically anything you need is at the mall. There's an Apple store, like if you forgot any electronics or a dongle or whatever it might be. There's a Shake Shack there if you're into that. I think there's like a Blue Bottle there now. Anyways, there's a bunch of stuff there at the mall. It's a mall, right? So if you're missing kind of other stuff, there's a mall there. And then kind of near to Crown Plaza, where most of you are staying, there's a Target about 5-10 minutes from there. It is walkable. So it's maybe a 15-minute walk. If you don't have a rental car, there is a Target near to Crown Plaza that is super, super duper handy. Obviously you can kind of get anything at Target. So if you want, snacks and stuff for yourself, for the room, that's a good place to go. And then, yeah, again, if you have a rental or whatever, just kind of where San Mateo Event Center is situated. It is about 30 minutes north to like downtown SF, and then about 30 minutes south to Palo Alto. So just keep that travel time in mind if you're going to any after events or customer meetings that are offsite. It, takes about 30 minutes. Sometimes there is traffic. Like I think the other day I came in, it took me like 45 minutes to get here from the airport. So just depends on time of day, but roughly 30 minutes in the mornings and evenings is kind of fair. But I know there's all this gloom and doom on Twitter that like SF is dead. I was like, it's not dead. Like there's a lot of traffic. So just mentally prepare for that. It's not like that. Okay. I highly recommend this. Okay. The SaaStr Events mobile app, one, you can do a lot of things on here. Two, it is literally what I personally use, even on our team, to keep track of what's going on at any given time. I'm like, we have all these crazy spreadsheets and stuff of like speakers and production things that are going on at once, but I literally load up the app just like you do. So that is my 2 thumbs up endorsement for the mobile app. It is super handy. It'll bring you up your QR code. So it'll literally, if you get the app and you've got your QR code of like your ticket on there, you literally just scan it when you walk up. It takes like 10 seconds to register. It's really handy. You could check your schedule, or if you haven't yet, you can register for sessions directly in the app, which is kind of nice, because then if you know when you're going to be on booth duty, or if you're on booth duty and someone's like, hey, I think I've got the booth, like if you want to go to sessions, then you can kind of see what sessions are upcoming and go pick one to go attend. You can see more information about the speakers. You can book a brain date, which we'll try and chat about if I don't run out of time here. You can do chat, which is really fun, which we'll talk about next. And there's a whole bunch of other stuff, like the map is in there. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff that's really handy about the app. One thing we chatted about last week, I want to just remind all our sponsors, because this is going to be super handy for you during the event. And I know there's a lot of questions in the chat about how do we network with attendees outside of Brain Dates. The chat is the way to do so. This is literally the chat for the entire event for all the attendees coming. It is powered by our friends at Expensify. So we've partnered with them to bring Expensify chat to SaaStr Annual. This is, fun fact, their formal launch of it. So this is going to be super fun. We've been testing it out internally for a few weeks to get it all set up for SaaStr Annual. And basically what we've done is if you download the mobile app, you'll see a button on the homepage that says, join the conversation, take me to chat. It'll automatically take you to chat. You can sign up for free, or you can anonymously kind of chat as well. There's a few things you can do anonymously, but we highly recommend you sign up for free. There's literally no cost to do it. And you can start chatting. So there's certain rooms for like locations. There's rooms for each session. So you could chat with people who are in the session with you. You can ask the speakers questions. And it's really fun. So anyways, we're encouraging everyone to do this. It is a great way to connect with attendees. You can put things in the social channel chat. If you want to meet some folks, if you're like, hey, I'm coming to SaaStr, I'm a marketer, or maybe I'm hiring, great place to put it in there as well. Or anything cool you're doing, any shout outs should go into the chat. So make sure, you are in the chat. And if you do have a speaking session, there is one particular for your session. We'll send out those links this week so that you guys have them and you can start to engage with attendees who do attend your session. So again, highly recommend you download the mobile app. It's not too soon to do this. There are already people in the app. There are already people in Brain Dates. There are already people in chat. So if you want to get going on this, it's not too early. Here's some screenshots of how chat works. So yeah, you're going to want to go to the social channel. You can kind of do a few things in there, say hello, make announcements, say where you're coming from. And then there's one for each session. So there's kind of one here, and just a quick plug that I'm doing a field guide to SaaStr Annual. On the first day, it is a lot of this information. So if you're a sponsor, it might be repetitive, but come say hello if you want to say hi to me on day one as I help kick off SaaStr. Okay, a few booth tips and tricks here. Again, just some pro tips for you guys. All the booths are turnkey, right? So I put a photo here of the gold booth, meaning like they're going to set up, I'm going to walk you through what they're going to set up. So like they're going to set up the facade of the booth, right? Like all this physical construction. They're going to install your graphics. They're going to, drop your included booth furniture, all that jazz. And just a note here, the cabinets do lock, right? They're going to make sure your lights work, all that stuff, all your stools are here. These cabinets, they do lock. However, do not leave high dollar valuables in those cabinets overnight. Like it's just never a good idea at any event. We don't recommend it. Like if you have like high value swag that you're giving away, like take it back with you to the hotel, bring it back the next day. You can leave like swaggy items, like shirts, whatever. That's all fine. But yeah, if you've got high value stuff, just keep it with you until you give it away. And then they will, install your monitor. So a question we get a lot is like, oh, cool. Like, do I give you guys my content for the monitor? No. You are in control of your monitor in your booth. So make sure you've got a hookup for it, especially if you've got a MacBook like I do. You're going to want to make sure you bring a dongle or just some sort of hookup. A hookup is usually preferred because then your laptop, isn't stuck tethered to the monitor. It's usually better if you bring something like an Apple TV, or you can get an Amazon Fire Stick. They're like $20 and like takes a day if you've got Prime. Those are super great. You just stick it in, connect your MacBook to it, boom. You can like split your screen. You can dual screen your monitor, whatever it is, super easy. And then that way your laptop won't be stuck at the TV. So, but you do have to bring something, right? They do all have an HDMI cable, and then they have got like an HDMI slot if you want to plug in kind of a hookup, but it is on you to control the content of your TV. Quick reminder that sound cannot be played on these TVs. So you are going to want to burn in captions for anything you're playing on the TV. I know a lot of people use it for demos too. So a lot of folks use it for demos, or they use it for like additional branding. So if you want to work with your graphics team, you still have a couple of weeks here. If you want to do some sort of like splash screen, or we've seen some people do like either GIFs or like videos that kind of play to what their back wall has, like that usually draws people in. Again, your monitor is included. That is a free thing you could do right now. Just go talk to your graphics team. Ask them to design you something for your TV that like either blends in or calls out like the back wall of your booth, and it honestly will draw people in. It's kind of fun. Okay. Another reminder here, everything does need to fit within the bounds of your booth. So what we mean by that is like if you've got swag that you're bringing in, if you've got activations that you're bringing in, everything does need to fit in your footprint here. You will know because you've got like little carpet aisles that designate who are you and where your neighbors' boundaries are. everyone's pretty much got a neighbor, so to be nice to your neighbor. And also, because of fire marshal and health and safety regulations, everything does need to fit within the bounds of your booth. You can think of it as like a really big airplane seat, right? So like if your stuff is spilling out into the aisles, kind of like the stewardesses will, our team will come by and ask you to put it back into your seat, back into your booth, so that everything fits within the bounds of your booth. We have to keep our aisles clear, guys. It is, again, a safety regulation that, we've got clear aisles so that if in case of emergency, people can exit. There's not a bunch of like rogue boxes spilling into the aisles or backpacks. Again, think of it like an airplane. Things have to fit within the bounds of your booth. There is included power in this back cabinet. But it's always a good idea still to bring portables, to bring kind of adapters that you might need, kind of like, USB-C cables, all that kind of stuff. Always good to have those because you may not always be at your booth, right? You might be out at sessions, etc. So you might want to have some portable batteries as well. I do know some people do like to give them away too. So you might ask a fellow sponsor for one if you forget yours. And then just on the point of swag, managed storage is via Freeman. So if you've got swag you're bringing in, you do need to coordinate with them through the exhibitor portal to make sure that they've got your swag, whether you're delivering to them or not. You do still need to have managed storage with Freeman so that they can drop off your stuff at your booth and make sure that they can help manage it if you've got a lot of swag and you don't want it all at once. So that's all through Freeman. Another pro tip is Freeman will be on site. So there's an on-site exhibit services center. It's in the hangar east. I always get confused. So one of the hangars, you'll see it. It's a sign. And they can help you on site as well. If you're like, oh shoot, I've got too much swag on day one and I need somewhere to store it, they can help you store it, get it out of the way, that kind of stuff. So they are available on site. Again, they can help you manage all that once you're there. A few tips and tricks on shipping, and I'm trying to go faster because there's a lot of tips and tricks I want to go through. A few on shipping is, again, we really recommend, if you haven't yet, to ship your stuff to the advanced warehouse. I know you're kind of reaching the deadline here. So if you haven't shipped there, or if you have items that are not going to make it to the advanced warehouse in time and you need to ship to the show site, you can still do that. But just keep in mind that, the 4th is a Labor Day. So like there is, closures that nothing will get delivered that day. And that might affect your delivery times. I will say we've ordered a lot of swag for SaaStr. We ordered it early. Some of it came later. Some of it came early. So just a reminder there, if you haven't ordered your stuff yet, now's the time to do so. Because even if it says like guaranteed delivery by this date, still might take a couple more days. There's weekends, there's holidays, like they just don't deliver on those days. And usually like the online guarantee doesn't factor it in. If you do have activations, etc., all those people do need to be registered as part of your team. I think you guys know that by now, but just a reminder there. We've talked about this, about, the food items just being for yourself, but if you are bringing in stuff to the venue, you can only hand carry items that aren't food yourself. Everything else needs to be arranged by a Freeman. So my rough rule of thumb is like, it can't be a box. So like if you've got a backpack and an extra gym bag or an extra backpack, cool, whatever. If it's a box, you've crossed the line into not being able to hand carry. So that is the rule, right? Like bags of your own, fine. Once you cross into box land, that needs to go to Freeman. That is a strict union venue rule. They are very, very strict about this. Please help us to abide by the rules. It makes all of our lives easier so that we don't get penalized. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of our rough rule of thumb there. There is daily cleaning of your boots overnight. So all of you have like little trash cans and stuff, they'll come and clean that out overnight, etc. And just for personal items, not for like your boot stuff, because that has to go through Freeman, there is a coat check in Hangar East that you can use for personal items. So again, if you've got 2 backpacks or you've got like an extra bag of stuff that you want for later in the day, you can help coat check it there. So it's not like clogging up your booth and then come back for it later, but it's only for personal items. Like if you come with a bunch of boxes, they're going to tell you to go to Freeman. So coat check is for personal items. I see a lot of questions. We're going to try and get to these as we go. Okay, we talked about swag guidelines. I'm going to skip this for now. If you haven't yet, again, please go into the chat. The link to the slide deck is here, and you can find all the shipping instructions and labels. Again, just the thing to call out here is that the deadline for the advanced warehouse is the 29th. So that is next Tuesday. So ship your stuff now. Ship it priority. So,
Hey, Amelia,
yeah.
we have a couple folks saying they don't see the link for the deck in the chat. If you just want to repost that.
Sure. I think sometimes if I post it too early and then people join late, it doesn't like it. So let me try one more time. I'm like, I don't know why it's not persistent. Okay, try that, folks. Hopefully you can see it now. All right, cool. Let me go back to full screen. Okay, I have a lot more slides and I know there's questions. I'm gonna try and go slightly faster and then we will do Q&A. So I'm gonna leave time for Q&A. So I'll try and wrap in the next 10 minutes and answer all the questions. Okay. A few things just on the campus map. Again, I'll try and keep it brief. There are 40 acres. Do try and use this to your advantage. One thing we haven't chatted about yet, but we have been emailing our platinum and above sponsors. Like if you're looking for a meeting space, I think this has been our #1 request lately. If you're platinum and above, use this handy link. You can request to book a time in our semi-private, again, note on semi-private. These are not private meeting pods, so don't have a awkward or like sensitive information meeting in here. But you can book one of our semi-private meeting spots here. Right now, this is open to platinum and up. If there is space next week, we'll try and open it up for super golds and golds. But right now it's open for platinum and up. So if you're platinum and up, do go request that because then next week, if we have room, we're going to open it up to everyone else. So bear that in mind. But other places you can take a meeting. Again, there's 40 acres of the campus. You can meet people at the container park. You can meet people at SaaStr Square Park. You can meet people in the co-working space. If you're a founder or CEO, you can meet people at the Founders Lounge. Like there's a lot of other meeting places on site. There's also like a lot of just like seating areas, I would say, that we have on site. You know, you could take a selfie, be like, hey, I'm outside of this hangar, come meet me here. And people will find you. That's honestly how a lot of people book meetings outside of the executive briefing center. Like I said, the Brain Dates are in Hangar East. There's the founders and the VC lounges that you can use if you do have those titles. They are gated, so it's going to have to say either founder, VC, or CEO to get in. We've got this new fun like SaaStr Royale I haven't even gotten to. It's like our on-site casino. You can go play a game with a prospect there. That could be really fun to see who wins, stuff like that. So again, there's a lot of great places there to meet folks and take a meeting there that are non-traditional, but still really fun, great places to meet around SaaStr Annual. Again, you could, do a meeting and ride the zip line together. All fun things you can do at SaaStr this year. You can also go to stages or content. There's a lot of different places, again, to meet around. Highly recommend, if you haven't yet, do a deep dive on this campus map. We'll try and do one last deep dive on it next week for the last webinar of all the spaces, but trying to keep it kosher and brief today. All right, I'm going to try and skip the agenda because I know there's a lot of things on it, and so that we can answer questions. But again, big note on Thursday, the big party, there's now just like, I don't know, I think single digits of big party buddy passes left. Maybe, actually I haven't checked it this morning. These may be out, but kind of a last call here if you want to bring a buddy, significant other to the big party with cheat codes. They do have to be accompanied by a full pass attendee, which is all of you guys. So you can bring somebody with you to the party to enjoy cheat codes. So that will, again, that's a fun time. Do take us up on that if you want to do it. Ratings we chatted about in the past few weeks. I'm just going to skip ahead to this because we haven't chatted about this a lot. So, and again, you guys have the deck, so hopefully you can peruse it to get any of the information I'm kind of breezing through. You can also, again, if we don't get to any of your questions, email sponsorsuccess@saastr.com. We'll help get you to the right place. It's also handy, like if you have a specific question about your booth, and we kind of know like who you are and like where your booth is, and can help answer it a little bit better. But wanted to call this out because it is open to sponsors, which I feel like sometimes sponsors don't realize that for your executive team, if your execs, like your CEOs, CFOs, CROs, whoever, your founders are looking to do a meeting with investors during SaaStr Annual, this is the way to do this. So send them this link so they can fill this out, or you can fill it out for them. That's fine too. It is open to all attendees, including sponsors. So that's always a call out where I feel like sometimes our sponsors don't realize they can do this, but you can do this. So we do recommend doing it. We've had sponsors in the past do it, actually get funding. So I recommend this if you know that your exec team is looking to raise another round, etc. So if you have somebody on your exec team who wants to do this, they would apply at this link. It's also just meetavc.com. We made it super easy. I just bought meetavc.com one day. So you can just go to meetavc.com and apply. Look how easy that is. This will just take you to the specific link that's for founders. But again, if you go to meetavc.com, really easy to get there. Basically you or they will fill out all of like kind of your revenue information, top customers, etc. And we will ingest this. And then on September 1st, which is just next week, we're going to send this out to all the investors, and the investors will reach out to you or reach out on their behalf to help book a meeting with you on site. That's what the VC lounge is for. That's what the founders lounge is for. And so again, highly recommend you do this. It is open to sponsors if you have not realized that yet. Okay, the agenda. I'm going to give you my final thoughts and then we'll do Q&A because I know there's a lot of questions. So final thoughts here, and then Kevin, I want your final thoughts as well. These are just my final thoughts. Final thoughts from me. It is 3 days plus a day of load-in if you guys are coming to early load-in on Tuesday. So pace yourself, right? Like it's a lot. I know a lot of people kind of go hard during load-in and they go hard day one and then they go hard at the big party. And by Friday, they're like, oh shoot. And I'm like, you still have to talk to people. Like it's AI day on Friday. There's new people coming in. Like definitely pace yourself and, bring that Friday energy on a Friday and just, rock it out on the last day of SaaStr, but do pace yourself. It is a lot, right? So if you can try and shift folks within your booth. As I've said, utilize the full campus. There's a lot of different areas to explore throughout annual. You're probably not going to get to it all in one day, especially if you're loading in, if you're talking to people. The days go by really, really fast. I'll tell you, I got here bright and early and it's somehow already 10 and I don't know how that happened. So it does go by really quickly. You will be talking a lot too. So like pro tip as you're packing, or if you've got like little fanny packs and stuff you're bring like cough drops, throat drop, throat coat or whatever, like honey, bring some honey for your tea. Like it is a lot of talking. So just be prepared for that as well. Bring mint gum, all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of talking. Hand sanitizer, because you're gonna be shaking a lot of hands, all that good stuff. Anyways, you probably won't go through the full campus in one day. But if you are coming early, it's kind of a fun time to explore because there's not attendees yet. You could help us test the zip line. Kind of get a lay of the land before everyone else comes in so that you kind of know like your spots. People kind of pick their spots of where they want to go. Some people are cantina people. They really like hanging in the cantina because it's kind of like a bopping area. Some people are co-working space they just want to like, crank out some emails, get back to what they were doing. I kind of tend to be around the entire campus, but if I was just attending, I'd probably pick some of the outside and indoor spaces just because, you want to get some sun and then come back in, cool off. Good to do both. San Mateo will be full of SaaStr event attendees. So I know I've said it's already a little bit, busy in San Mateo. It's a busy time of year. There are a ton of after parties. So if I click this link, it'll take you to our handy guide where you will see that there are a ton of these. There's some Tuesday because people thought, oh, there's no SaaStr stuff, so I'll do it Tuesday. There's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, like all the days of annual. There are a bunch of after parties. We've been trying to keep this list as up to date as we can, but I feel like every day there's a new one. We're trying to add, like Kevin just sent us one this morning. There's always a new one to add. So we're trying to keep that up to date, but there are a lot of them. Honestly, I recommend if you're not hosting one of these, you still go to these, right? Other sponsors are hosting them, and you can meet a lot of really great attendees at these after parties. So we do recommend checking out those after parties and picking a few to go to. And they're typically at times where, there's hopefully nothing else that we're hosting going on, or they're at the tail end of it. So I know there's some like big party after parties. There's some parties after the Food and Wine Fest. There's like pre-parties. So there's a lot of parties. So yeah, pace yourself, hence the pace yourself note. I know that getting scans for all of you at the booth is like goal number one, but again, take advantage of the whole property of the meetings, the brainmates, the chats, all the activations we have, ride the zip line, do all the things to meet as many people as possible. And yes, it is a 40-acre campus and there is a Whole Foods and Starbucks walkable 15 minutes, but there is lunch every day. There's water every day. There's coffee every day. There's gallons upon gallons upon hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of gallons of coffee. And Wi-Fi. So, you will be able to, like, I'm literally here on campus right now. You can't tell because of my background, but I'm here now. I'm on the Wi-Fi. There's coffee. It's a good time. So yeah, you kind of have like a mobile office. So those are my final thoughts. What are yours, Kevin?
Yeah, those are great. I think only thing I'll add to that, right? I think it's so important for us to make sure that all of our sponsors have a very successful event. And I think everyone defines success a little bit differently. So I think, really define your goals, really define what success means for you, and really plan and strategize on how you're going to make that happen. We see lots of our sponsors, right? They They run different contests with their team who's in there just to kind of incentivize and gamify things. One of our sponsors from our Europa event, they actually created a really cool scavenger hunt of different things that they want their team to do. It's, have a brain date, eat lunch with a prospect, right? Different things like that. But I think really having a solid plan every single day on what you need to do to make it super successful, that's super helpful. And of course, as you're thinking about these things, strategizing, we're here to help. We've seen a lot of things that work super, super well. And again, I think, this is the year of ROI. Badge scans are great, but don't be afraid to ask for that meeting next week to follow up, or don't be afraid to ask, if you're talking to a founder and you sell to CFOs or HR, right? Don't be afraid to ask for that email intro to the main point of contact. So definitely go for it. But as you're planning, as you're strategizing, we're here to help and support.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to hit the questions. There's about 10 of them, so I'll try and go in order from top to bottom. And we've left 10 minutes, so hopefully these are 60 seconds each. Again, answer any other questions if you guys have follow-ups. We'll try and keep answering them. And then if you have stuff we haven't answered, you can email Sponsor Success, or you can email me. It might take me a little longer because I'm on site, but I will answer you. I am ai@saastr.com. I will help get you what you need. Okay. First question is, do the lead scanners work offsite? So if I'm hosting an offsite party in the evening, can I scan people there? They do work offsite. So that's the answer. Bear in mind, because of how we do them on like devices, again, portable battery, highly recommended. Like if your device dies, then your lead scanner dies. So plug in your phone. Cool. Next one. Sorry if I missed this before. Is there a way to communicate with attendees before the event, like an app or Slack channel? Yes, that is the chat. So download the mobile app, get into chat. I'm also going to drop it in here. It does work on desktop, handy trick. So yeah, anyways, Expensify chat. This is a super handy way to chat with folks. We'll send around the link to all sponsors so you guys can join the chat on either mobile or desktop, but this is the way to chat with people. It does function very similarly to Slack. So that is the way to do it. Great question. Next question is, if we get a signage board with us for our activation, do we get to keep it with us in the after hours, or do we have to keep it with the SaaStr team? I'm sorry you're anonymous, so I don't know who this is. If you could reach out to us so I can get you a clear answer. I don't know if this means that like you want to bring one in for after hours or what this sort of means. So please email us at Sponsor Success and we'll get you the right answer. Just because I need a little clarity on how you're trying to bring the signage in, etc. So that's that one. That goes for anyone. Okay, next question is, if we bring, it's a good question actually. If we bring a wireless hotspot from like AT&T or Best Buy, does it work on the show floor? Those don't really work. We've had other sponsors try it. They don't work great because it interferes with the Wi-Fi that is campus wide. If you are worried about Wi-Fi, listen, I've been on this Wi-Fi. You guys haven't seen me like glitch out or anything, right? I'm literally doing a Zoom and I have the live stream on. So like there's a lot going on right now. I'm taking up a lot of bandwidth, but it's working fine. If you're worried about Wi-Fi because you have something beefy, like you've got a really heavy like demo set, or you got stuff you want to make sure like it works at all times, order a hardline. You can still do that. Email Sponsor Success. They will bill you today. They'll try and get you your hardline as fast as possible. Today is like the deadline for the hard lines, I think. So do this today. Again, don't try and bring a hotspot. Literally, this is cheaper than getting a hotspot too. I think those hotspots are like a few $100. The hardline drop is less than $100. So this is way cheaper to do. It's more effective and it will actually work. So again, discourage any hotspots, just get a hardline. It's a lot easier, and make sure you have a dongle for the hardline. Okay, answered that one. Okay. Can you plug a USB into the monitor? No. It does need to be an HDMI plug. So that's why we recommend doing a Apple TV or Kindle Fire Stick or anything that's HDMI plug-in to help mirror your laptops. Don't bring a USB. That won't work if you have slides on a USB. It does not take a USB hookup. It will only take an HDMI. So good question there. All right, the next question from Kristen is, could you remind me the locations of the happy hour? Sure. So let me go to the campus map. Here, if I can get to the full thing, I might have deleted. Oh, that's registration. That's why. Hold on real quick. Campus map. Here we go. Okay. This is also just good information overall of where the happy hours are each day. So happy hours are in both hangars. So hangar west and hangar east, they are connected. There's a lot of different entrances to both of them though. So I will preface that. The happy hours are strictly in there, as well as the food and wine fest. So the first day food and wine fest is also just in the hangars. Happy hours only in the hangars. So it's going to be really bopping for folks, just as a call out there. Like it is only in the hangars. It's going to be like, if you have staff, put all your staff out during happy hour if they fit in your booth, right? Like that is the primo time of people being around. Also during the food and wine fest the first day. That's why we have it on site to help you guys get more scans as like a campus-wide activation. Okay, that's the happy hours. We've reached out to Order Hardline Internet. Can you help? Yeah, just email me, ai@saastr.com. I can help you get set up there and get to the right place for hardlines. Good idea to do so. Okay. There's the next question here, Regina. If we had a customer nomination to SaaStr who can't make it anymore, can we transfer that pass? You do need to reach out to registration. It's a case-by-case basis at this point. It depends on who they're trying to swap it with and if they have your permission and this kind of stuff. Like all those previous restrictions on nominations still apply. So for this particular question, please reach out to registration@saastrinc.com. You can CC my email, ai@saastr. That's just my initials. It's a real email. It's not a robot. And we will help get you to the right place. Okay, there's a few more here. If we're doing a food activations, how many servings a day do you recommend? So important thing here on food activations, if you don't have one preset with SaaStr already, it is too late. I'm sorry. But the reason being, if it's a food activation, it would have had to have had a special event permit. It is too late with the county to submit a permit today. The deadline was about a week and a half ago, like on the 15th. So if you don't have a food activation yet, it's really hard to secure one at the moment because it would have to be through the venue, and pretty much the venue has done every activation possible for all of our sponsors. So at this point, it is too late to do that. The only thing you can do for this kind of thing is if you want to do something like custom Oreos, or I've seen people do like just put their labels on like gummy bears, etc. Pre-packaged food you can still bring in, but again, you would need to arrange with Freeman to bring any boxes. So if you're bringing like a bunch of boxes of like gummy bears that you've put your like stickers on or candy, you do need to arrange for Freeman to bring that to your booth. So just a big nuance there on food. The only thing you could really do right now that is around the requirement of having a permit is to do something prepackaged, maybe put your company's like label or sticker on it. But if you're bringing it in boxes, it does need to come via Freeman. Keep that in mind. Okay, can you still order Hardline Internet? Yes, please just contact sponsor success at SaaStrinc.com. They will help you do that. We're sharing a doc with our team staff with all the info at the event. Do you have the Wi-Fi name and password available yet for us to include? We do. It is not in this deck. We will send that around to all sponsors so you guys have it. Or Kelly, you can email me too. I think you got my email. My other email. I've got more than one. All good. I'll send that over to you. Okay, cool. I think if there's any other questions, please let us know. We'll do it 1 more minute. Cool. Anything else? All right, cool. So I know we're at the top of the hour, so we will wrap there. If you guys have any other questions, please email us at Sponsor Success. We'll help you guys get where you need to go. Hopefully this was helpful with our expert tips and tricks. And yeah, hopefully you're all gearing up for SaaStr Annual. So see you here next week for the final pre-event webinar, and then we'll all see you here on site at San Mateo. So see you soon.